Ever just looked around and been completely blown away by the sheer variety of life on this planet? I mean, from the tiniest little microbes you can't even see, all the way up to the biggest blue whale, our world is just overflowing with life. Well, today, we're going to dive into the really cool system that scientists came up with to make sense of it all. I mean, just take a second to absorb this. You've got life thriving in frozen-over mountains and in boiling hot springs. You've got the elegance of a horse galloping across a field, and then you have the raw power of a shark in the ocean. Life is, well, it's everywhere. And it's this incredible range that we're going to try and get our heads around. And yeah, that really gets us to the big question, doesn't it? When you're facing this absolutely staggering amount of biodiversity, how do you even start to study it? How do you talk about it with another scientist halfway across the world and be sure you're both talking about the exact same creature? The scale of this challenge is just huge. So, just how huge are we talking? Well, get this. That number, 1.7 to 1.8 million, that's how many species we've actually named and described so far. And the crazy part? We're finding new ones all the time. So this isn't some dusty old list, it's a constantly growing library of life. And you can see how this quickly becomes a massive organizational headache. That headache starts with something that sounds super simple: names. But imagine trying to have a global conversation when everyone's using a different word for the exact same thing. It would be chaos, right? Well, that was the reality for the first biologists. For example, what one person in one town calls a gopher, someone a few hundred miles away might call a prairie dog, and they could be talking about the same animal. These local names can change from region to region, never mind from country to country. It's a recipe for total confusion, and you just can't do science that way. So, to fix this mess, science really needed a breakthrough. It needed one standardized, universal language, a system that would let any scientist, anywhere on Earth, know exactly which organism they were talking about. And the solution, it turns out, was all in a name. So this whole process of bringing order to all this beautiful chaos, it's called taxonomy. And it's more than just naming things. It's a whole scientific method. First, you carefully observe an organism's unique features. That's characterization. Then, you figure out what it is. That's identification. You give it an official name. That's nomenclature. And finally, you group it with other similar organisms. And that's classification. Now, the absolute game changer, the cornerstone of this whole system, is something called binomial nomenclature. It sounds fancy, but binomial just means two names. It was developed by this absolute genius, Carolus Linnaeus, and his elegant solution gives every single species a unique two-part name that's recognized all over the world. And the rules are actually really simple, which is what makes them so powerful. First, the names are in Latin, so they're universal, and they're always written in italics. The first word is the genus, and you always capitalize it. The second word is the specific epithet, and it's always lowercase. So a mango, for example, becomes Mangifera indica. Simple, clean, and everyone knows what you mean. No more confusion. But, okay, naming individual species is just the first piece of the puzzle. The real magic of the system is how it organizes all of those species into this giant, coherent structure. You can think of it like a ladder, or maybe a set of those Russian nesting dolls. Let's see how it all stacks up. So each step on this ladder, or each nesting doll, is a category called a taxon, or taxa if you're talking about more than one. And we put organisms into these taxa based on the characteristics they share. It's really just like organizing your computer files into folders, and then putting those folders into bigger folders. And this is that hierarchy. It all starts at the bottom with species, which is the most specific group you can have. From there, related species get bundled together into a genus. Related genera get grouped into a family. And you just keep going up and up, getting broader and more inclusive all the way to kingdom at the very top. Now, here's the most important thing to get. As you climb that ladder from species all the way up to kingdom, the organisms in each group share fewer and fewer things in common. Think about it. All the animals in the cat family are pretty similar, right? A lion, a tiger, a house cat. You can see the family resemblance. But when you go all the way up to the kingdom Animalia, you're now lumping cats in with jellyfish and beetles. They share basic traits for sure, but they're way less specific.
This chart makes it all super clear. Let's find us. Humans. Our common name is man. Our genus is Homo. We're in the Homidae family, the primate order, the mammal class, and so on. You can trace this for anything. A housefly, a mango, a stalk of wheat. Each one has its own unique specific address in this vast system of life. Pretty cool, right?
So, you might be thinking, okay, that's a lot of work just to be organized. But is that all this is? Just being neat? No way. It turns out this system reveals something much, much deeper about life itself and about our own place in it.
And that deeper understanding comes from this related field called systematics. See, taxonomy is about naming and grouping. Systematics takes it to the next level. It uses that classification to study the evolutionary relationships between all these organisms. The structure isn't just for convenience. It actually reflects the real branching tree of life over millions of years. And that leads us to this really profound idea, captured perfectly in this quote, realizing that this system is basically a family tree, that we are related not just to other apes, but to every single living thing, and even every extinct thing that's ever lived. Well, that was a truly humbling moment for us as a species. It shows that we aren't separate from nature. We are an inseparable part of it.
So, as we finish up, I want to leave you with this to chew on. This system isn't just some boring catalog in a library. It's a story of connection, written over billions of years. So if that's true, what does it really tell us about our own tiny little branch on that vast, incredible, and interconnected tree of life?